Hello everyone. So now let's discuss the fifth chapter of this introduction module. So basically, this entire introduction module is divided into 5 to 6 videos, and now we are on the fifth video. Uh, Prior to this, we discuss about some of the foundational terms and concepts. We discuss about the life cycles, which was very important. So all of those things were really important, but ITTOs, your ITTO sheet which you have downloaded from the website. If you have not done it right now, please make sure that stop this video right now. Go to the website www.eduhubspot.com and under the resources tab, download that free ITTO sheet. That's really very important because we want you to concentrate on your input tools, techniques, and output, which is your crux of project management. But let me repeat, let me iterate. I don't want you to memorize. I want you to understand those concepts, what I'm referring to. So this is the process framework. So let's see, what do we have? The PMBOK guide, the Project Management Institute has organized the PMBOK guide into framework of processes, groups, and knowledge areas. So basically we have 49 processes, we have 5 process groups, and we have 10 knowledge areas. So if you see, the tools actually work on the inputs. The tools actually work on the inputs to give you the outputs. That's your framework structure. And if you have your ITTO sheet, you can see that the first tab is all about this particular processes, where how these ITTOs are actually inclined, or are in which process group or which particular knowledge areas. So it's actually developed there. Second tab would be to go into much more details, which will talk about this thing, which is your inputs, tools, and your output. The third tab is about the differentiation between the project management plan and the project documents, and also between the scope statement and the charter. Fourth tab is your mathematics piece. You will get questions on the mathematics also, so we want to make sure that you memorize all the formulas as well. So this is more of like a cheat sheet kind of thing. So let's see, what is the process group flow. Process groups are not performed in a serial end-to-end fashion. They are not the same as project phases. So again, it is not serial end-to-end. So it's initiation, then we have planning, then we have execution, then we have MNC, and then we have finally the closing. So I'm not saying that after you complete initiation, then only you can start planning. After you complete planning, then only you can start execution. Then only you can do monetary control, and then only you can do closing. It's not serial end to end. Most of the things happen in actually parallel only. Of course, first you complete the project charter, then you would move to the planning. So after you complete the initiating process, then you will move to the planning. Based upon the planning, you might execute something, and then you may come to know that, okay, you did something not good, your planning was not good. So you go back on the drawing board and you again start doing the planning. You will again execute, again plan, again execute, again plan. So this cycle will go on and on and on. Once everything is all set, then you will go ahead and close the process. But if you see on the top, you have the monitoring and control. So monitoring and control would be your uppermost umbrella. From the day one, your monitoring control starts, because ultimately you as a project manager want to monitor your progress from day one only, right? So similarly, this course also for you, right? You started this course. If you are not monitoring and controlling your preparation, you may not meet your end date, whatever planned date you have focused, which you have thought about giving the exam. So in order to do that, you have to remain very, very focused. So there are 10 knowledge areas in all. So first we discuss the 49 processes, then we have 5 process groups, and there are 10 knowledge areas. So what are those knowledge areas? So we have scope management, schedule management, cost management, quality management, resource management, communication management, risk management, procurement management, and your stakeholder management. All of those you combine will form your first knowledge area, which is your integration management knowledge area. Integration means to integrate, to join each and every knowledge area together. Every process is a member of one and only one knowledge area. So like if you see your first tab of your ITTO sheet, you can see that every process over there is a part of only one knowledge area, and it's only part of one process group. Like for example, your first process name is develop project charter. Develop project charter is part of only integration management. It's not part of scope management, it's not part of communication, or it's not part of procurement management. And on the other hand, develop project charter is part of only initiating. It's not part of planning, it's not part of execution, or it's not part of closing or monitoring control. Every process is part of only one process group and only one knowledge area. The tens, the fives, the 49. So on the vertical axis, you have the tens, which means your knowledge areas. You have 5 process groups from initiating till closing, and in the middle you have 49 processes. You can refer this on your ITTO's first tab. Let's quickly discuss the common inputs, tools, and output. So first we will see enterprise environmental factors, then we will see organization process asset, project management plan, and work performance data. You will see these terms as a lot, like, all of these are actually, very, very common. Like first is EEF, enterprise environmental factors. Anything that affects your project which is not under the control of project team. Examples include the organization culture, the organization, PM's power, risk tolerance, and of course the market. So basically EF could be internal or EF could be external to your organization. Internal could be something like, what is the culture of the organization? Like how powerful is the PM in this organization? Like I remember, I used to work for an organization where I was allowed to start my work at at my leisure time. Like probably I used to come at like 12ish in the afternoon, and then I used to work like till 8ish. Their main goal was to make sure you complete the project, make sure you do your work assigned. And similarly, I've also worked for organization where I have to be at work at 9 o'clock, like come what may be. Like I have to be at office. That was a different organization culture. I would say that those things were internal to my organization and are examples of EEF. Other external examples could be the market, right? There are changes in the market like almost every day. So those examples which may impact my project is also, type of EEF. On the OPS side, anything that helps you which is specific to your organization. Examples include previous plans, documents, analytical data, policies. So like, internal, I would say organizational process assets, something very internal specific to your organization. Like for example, your corporate knowledge base. Where are you storing these lessons learned? Where are you gathering that information? If you want to do some lessons learned, if you want to see a particular template, you will actually go to your knowledge base, which is of your organization. Then how you can improve the policies, how you can improve the processes which are followed by your organization. All those things are also part of your OPA. Then we have the project management plan, which we would be discussing in the integration management knowledge area. It's like, I call this project management plan as the father. If you have your ITTO sheet with you, go to the third tab and you can see the difference between the project management plan and your project documents. So it has clearly laid out the difference between these two plans and the document. Then we have the work performance data. We have already discussed the raw observations, right? This would also be used as a common input. Remember, data will always get converted into information. Then we will have some of the tools which would be used almost in all of the processes. The first one, we have the expert judgment, which is consulting with someone or a group who has expertise in a particular area. Like for example, I use this expert judgment a lot in my organization while helping my students a lot. A lot of people look up to me for the answers to some of the doubts they have. That's expert judgment. So I am an individual who is helping them, providing my my expertise in trying to help them clear the PMP exam. That's expert judgment. Then we will use these meetings a lot, which is discussing and addressing pertinent topics of the project. Whatever you do, you probably start with a meeting, right? For what are the different types? I would say, like for example, do a meeting for information exchange. You do a meeting for brainstorming. You want to evaluate all the options, like discussions for design. Decisions for decision making. You do meetings almost for everything. That is another common tool. Under the meeting, there is another important topic, which is your kickoff meeting. You might get some questions on kickoff meeting, like approximately I can say 1 or 2 questions on the meeting, specifically on the kickoff meeting. So a meeting scheduled to discuss the roles and responsibilities, get the team members commitment, and communicate the project objective. So kickoff meeting is widely practiced, but what does this kickoff meeting and when it is conducted? This is something where you will discuss the roles, and this is actually done at the early stages of your project. Like if it's a small project, you will probably do that in the planning phase shortly after the initiation stage, because you get the project charter approved, you get the project manager assigned on the project, and as soon as your planning starts, you want to do a formal kickoff, meet the stakeholders. Then if it's a pretty large project, you want to do that in the execution stage shortly after the planning stage, because now you have done all the planning, you have everything, all the information after gathering it from the stakeholders, but now you want to lay out to the team, to the stakeholders, that this is how we will execute this. What type of life cycle are we using? Is it adaptive or a predictive, incremental? It depends. Some of the common outputs which you will see: change request. Change request is something, whatever you do something, there is a change request. Like for example, you did not plan to download the ITTO sheet, but what if, while doing the studies, I told you again and again to download, you went ahead and actually downloaded the ITTO sheet, right? So this is something which is a change request on your project. You did not plan for it, but now you have to do it because you know that this is something which can help you a lot. So change a document, deliverable, or baseline, how the work is, or how the work is being performed. So you can do a lot of changes on the project. First of all, you do a change request as a corrective action, realigning the project work with the project management plan. So you are doing the project, but when you do a comparison of your plan and what you are actually doing, you see that you're not on track. You missed few things. So at that particular stage, you might have to go back and make some corrective actions. Then you also do a change request for preventive actions. Make sure that the future project work is aligned with the project management plan. Like this example, the change request which came, that when you went ahead and went to the website to download that ITTO sheet, that's a preventive action, right? Ultimately, we want to make sure that we are preventing, we are doing the right steps to make sure that your project is aligned with the only one goal we have, which is the success for you. Then we have the defect repairs, which is correcting the non-conforming product requirements. So like for example, we have a non-conforming product. We see that there were some issues. So defect is something which is caught by the customer. You launched it and you found out that this was not good, or it's not working as expected. What you should do? You have to go back and repair that, right? So that's, sometimes there would be change requests based upon the defect repairs also. And also there is another common output, I would say, the updates. Lot of time you will see that you are updating the organization process asset, or you are updating any plan documents or document updates. So updates happen all the time. We will be discussing about these updates in much more detail when we are in the individual 49 processes. So let's do a quick revision. Focus on the project framework. Always remember the 49, the 5, the 10. Focus on some of the common tools and outputs, common inputs, tools and output. We discussed like the change request, the EEF, OPA, business case, benefits management plan. Focus on the importance of kickoff meeting when it is scheduled. You might get some questions on that. And most importantly, practice as many questions as possible. So when I'm saying practice as many questions as possible, I'm referring to the introduction questions. you may get a lot of questions from the introduction section. So first of all, make sure you're doing in the first half, and then when you do the full length test 4 hours, you have to see that how many questions you got it correct from the introduction portion as well. So this marks the completion of your 5th video. Next, we would be discussing the different types of roles you have on a project. What are the different organizational types, and what is a leader? What is the difference between leadership and managing? We will also talk about the different types of power which are shown by a leader or a project manager. So stay tuned for that one as well. Thank you.